Go. All right, and we're live. Welcome to the next video of Organize Your Existence for a Life of Happiness and Fulfillment. And here I am with Timothy Morgan.
Hey, Gobi. Hey, everybody. Good to see you.
All right, thank you, Timothy. So today's topic is going to be around humbly listening. Now, listening with humility means a lot of things. It means being able to accept criticism. It means being able to listen to feedback without arguing. It means talking less and imbibing positive imagery. It means fighting temptation and even controlling anger at times. It can mean waiting overnight on occasion, waiting overnight before sending in a message. And it can mean avoiding conflicts that you don't need to get into, sometimes at big costs. It means sometimes not messing up something that's pretty good and how to fix something before it's too late. So these are some of the topics that come around humbly listening. Timothy, Timothy runs Giver Marketing, and he runs a pretty large organization, but are also a really high quality organization of people who are interested in marketing, but also giving. And so giving and listening are pretty related. And so, Timothy, I'd just love to hear your thoughts on listening with humility.
Yeah, I'm learning a lot about this along the way. And I think anybody in significant relationships understand the value of listening in any kind of relationship. So whether that's a family relationship or a business relationship, a relationship with your cohorts, with your associates, people you're working with. One of the things that I'm learning is listening to understand instead of listening to respond. So to truly listen to understand means you're paying attention to the nuances of what's being said. There's a reason we have two ears and one mouth, because maybe it's better to listen. And if we're not sure what to do, maybe it's better to listen. Now, this is a little bit easier for introverts or the quiet types in the room because they're used to listening more. But for those who like to be the life of the party and get a lot of energy from being around a lot of people, maybe we should practice listening more, right? So those are some of the tips. Also, one of the ways to make sure that you're doing this well is to ask great questions. So a follow-up question could be just as powerful as a statement. That question will force you to do more listening. And I learned this in becoming an internationally certified coach, where you have to learn the art of asking great questions based on the conversation, not random questions, important, relevant questions to the person that you're caring about and having empathy toward in that moment.
That's fascinating. And so I think that listening and the important questions, those are quite tied, because you can't ask a really important, relevant question without listening. And one of the things I wanted to ask you is just what's a situation where you felt like, so you mentioned you're maybe not the most introverted guy in the world. So what's a situation that you're a little bit happy about, where you were able to sort of understand what somebody was saying, and then you asked a good question?
Well, I'm thinking about like team dynamics where there's maybe a difference of opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't name names just because, but I'll say that there's been some recent conversations where there's been a slightly different approach or an opinion on how to do something in our work environment. And I was just checked because I wanted to take control of the conversation by talking over somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And I was checked based on some training, and I'm also a person of faith, so I'm just like, okay, take a deep breath. It's all good. Just because they see it from a different perspective doesn't mean they're wrong.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean anybody's wrong. It might be just a different perspective. So taking a breath in this situation and asking clarifying questions. You know, we talked about questions earlier, but asking for clarity here's the key, with the core of curiosity. You are truly curious about what the other person is going to answer in that question. You're not asking questions to lead them toward anything specific necessarily, but you're asking questions because you're curious of the genius that they might have to apply to that situation. That has been helpful not only in the business world, but also in my marriage.
Yeah, and you mentioned faith, and some of the things that really religious and spiritual people are able to do is they're able to not get angry. They're able to not get angry and listen. Man, how are they able to do that? And maybe there's something about that, that just that ability to be one with the universe or God or whatever you call it. You can call it what you'd like, but it's it's difficult for people who are more involved in the daily stresses and worries of life. It's difficult to not get upset. It's difficult to not talk over someone when you care about that outcome of whatever you're talking about, right?
Yeah, there's a reason that we root for certain people and we don't root for other people. And it comes down to this question, Gobi, that you've asked. How do you humbly listen to somebody else? It comes down to humility. That doesn't mean you need to be, it's not a sign of weakness.
Mhm.
Humility is a sign of strength. And listening is a sign of good discipline and maturity. And so whoever's doing this, practicing a little bit more every day is doing a great job. So good job.
Well, thank you. I'm not nearly perfect. I think there's a Tim McGraw song about just I know I'm not as good as I'm gonna get, but I'm better than I used to be. And I think that's a great way to sum up today's session. So please be sure to like or subscribe below if you like this, and a big shout out to Timothy of Giver Marketing, and thank you for listening to this session. Take care.